Hello again. I hope you're well today. I'm just going to get right into it. Going to keep talking about clean food and clean eating. So, as usual, I have my screen set up here and I'm going to get right into it. So, if you haven't printed a copy of the Food Buyer's Guide yet, please do it. It's a really good resource. It's a great resource. I know I'm biased. I wrote it, but it's a great resource. All right. So what I wanted to, excuse me, do a little bit today was to look into what is in some of the foods that we would generally eat, perhaps generally eat. The first thing we're going to look at, uh, what we're going to do is look at what is in it and what's perhaps done to it. All right, so the first thing we're going to look at today is a Fiber One bar. Fiber One bar. And the way I got to a Fiber One bar is I got out Mr. Google on my computer, Mr. Google, and what I type in? Protein bars. Protein bars. The first one on the list for, it was an ad, was Fiber One. Clicked on that, looked for ingredients, had to go through a few different machinations of how to get the ingredients for Fiber One bar. Finally, I found the ingredients. I'm going to read you the ingredients. They're listed below here in the text, but I'm just going to read it to you. All right, you ready? Chicory root extract, semi-sweet chocolate chips (parentheses), sugar, chocolate liqueur, cocoa butter, soy lecithin. What's soy lecithin? Natural flavor. I'll tell you what natural flavor is right now. Natural flavor is MSG. So they're adding MSG into the semi-sweet chocolate chips. All right, the next thing after semi-sweet chocolate chips is whole grain oats, corn syrup, rice flour, barley flakes, sugar, canola, and palm kernel oil. Not good, by the way. Canola is especially not good. Vegetable glycerin, who knows what that is. High maltose corn syrup, maltodextrin, tricalcium phosphate, sugarcane fiber, soy lecithin, cocoa processed with alkali, salt, fructose, malt extract, caramel color, cellulose gum, baking soda, milk, natural flavor, MSG, mixed tocopherols added to retain freshness. Yummy. Living the dream there. Fiber One bar. Doesn't that sound good? So I just started with the chicory root extract. And I thought, all right, chicory root extract, what is it? So Mr. Google says chicory root, and this is all typed out below, all right? Chicory root is an inulin, a type of plant-based carbohydrate that cannot be broken down by human digestive enzymes, and it's often used in high fiber, Fiber One, and gluten-free products. This is done by pulling the inulin from the roots of the chicory plants, producing chicory root extract. That made me wonder, well, how do they get the inulin out of chicory root extract? How do they make chicory root extract? That's what I went into. How do they make chicory root extract? Are you ready for this? This is all right, so it's how you get, I think it's how you get the inulin out of the chicory root extract. So they take dried chicory roots. I didn't look into how they dried the chicory roots. Makes me a little concerned right off the bat. They take the dry chicory roots, they crush it up, and they soak it in ethanol for 24 hours. All right, ethanol. What is ethanol? Well, technically it's grain alcohol, but ethanol you can get in Ann Arbor at Meijer and many other places as a gasoline replacement. Ethanol is a gasoline replacement. It is not like moonshine. Sorry, my nose is itching. Ethanol. All right, so they soak it in ethanol for 24 hours. Then they add N-heptane. They add N-heptane to that mix. And N-heptane is used in gasoline to eliminate spark plug knock. And if you're not old enough to know what spark plug knock is, it's in all gasoline now. It used to be more of a problem with carbureted engines. Everything's fuel injected now, so it's not such a problem. So they add a fuel additive to the fuel that's already there. And then they add, because that's not enough, then they add ethyl acetate. And ethyl acetate is nail polish remover. It's used in cigarettes. It's used in making glue. And one more wonderful thing is it's used in decaffeinating coffee and tea. They add all that into the chicory root to extract the inulin from the chicory root, which is the #1 ingredient, which means that there's the most of it in a Fiber One bar, right? Chicory root extract is the very first thing. So is that really something that is good for you and that you want to eat? I don't. Doesn't seem good. So the next thing I wanted to look at, all right, so I don't eat Fiber One bars. Doesn't interest me. So I thought, well, let's look into something else that perhaps would be more in line with what we are discussing and talking about fresh food. And remember, if you go back to the, I can't remember what it was, 1 or 2 visits ago, I had a list of what is clean food, and I talked about those things on that list. I think there were 4 things. One of them was that it was local, and I'm going to get into that right now. So I took lettuce, right, and I went back to Mr. Google. What's done to lettuce? Grocery store lettuce. What's done to it to keep it fresh and crisp? And yeah, it's not a whole lot better. All right, so that great lettuce, which organic and non-organic lettuce, this is done to them both because, well, that's a long discussion. It's not a pesticide. What's done here is not a pesticide, so it qualifies under the organic rules. All right, so one thing I need to say is it was not easy to find what was done to grocery store lettuce, because each company has their own little variation of what's done, and they get that process and that chemical mix. I just tipped my hand there, didn't I? They get that mix approved by the USDA or the FDA, and they don't want to just go, here, bleh, my competition, here's what I'm doing, why don't you copy me? Because it costs a lot to be able to do that. So they don't just give that stuff away for free. All right. So what's done? So I do that. The reason I mentioned that, and I just have to keep looking at my notes because I wrote this pretty good here. I wrote that because I'm trying to entice you or lead you down a path where you don't really trust the USDA and the FDA, because their goals are likely not the same as your goals. If you're watching this, it's probably not the same as your goals, because it's not the same as mine, I can assure you. All right, so you can't trust them. I guess that's ultimately what I'm trying to say. So, all right. I got this from a book off from Mr. Google called Decontamination of Fresh and Minimally Processed Produce. And I missed the author. Doesn't matter. It's on Mr. Google. And it's seems like the book's kind of written by a PhD. I kind of put in here, if you wanted some good sleeping material, get this book, because it's going to put you right to sleep. It is very, it's written like a thesis. You know, it's scientifically. It's written scientifically. You know, it's not there to entertain you by any stretch. So what is done to lettuce? I say all that blah 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 to give you some background information of how I got this information for what's done to lettuce that you get in a grocery store. Because if you recall, I said I don't know how they keep it fresh. I don't know how it stays crisp. I don't know I don't understand. So now I do understand, unfortunately. All right, so what they do is they harvest the lettuce and then they dip it into a mix of, excuse me, a solution of water and hydrochloric acid. Yay, hydrochloric acid. All the healthy kids are eating hydrochloric acid. All right, so what that solution does is it kills the bacteria that's on the lettuce so that the lettuce doesn't decompose, and it keeps it fresh. After it gets done with the hydrochloric acid process, they rinse it and then they add a preservative, antioxidant or a preservative. Yay, I didn't even look into what that was. So why is hydrochloric acid bad? Well, obviously hydrochloric acid, I just told Kirsten this when I got done with the study and finding this all out. She says, well, hydrochloric acid, when in chemistry class they said you got to be real careful with this because it'll eat the skin right off from you. It'll burn your skin. Yep, it'll burn your skin. So there's that obvious one. But the other thing, excuse me, that you may not connect the dots with, and I'm going to connect them for you, is that if you are consuming a food that has a product on it that is killing the bacteria on that product, what is that doing to your own digestive system, to your own gut? Well, your gut has a lot of bacteria in it. It needs that bacteria to break the food down as part of your digestive tract to make all of the nutrients bioavailable for your body. So you're actually gaining nutrition from the food that you eat. So by eating that antibacterial product, you're eating also a product and putting a product into your digestive system that's killing your digestive system. And so perhaps a salad a week or 2 salads a week, it's not going to have an immediate effect. But what it does have is a long-term effect. Just, like my story, if you remember back, I was 37 when I got so sick. Well, I took all of this bad food and compressed it into a very young age because of my high stress, high intensity of eating bad food and high exposure to pesticides. But what it did for me that I'm trying to get you to avoid is that it made it so I did it when I was young. I was healthy enough to recover so that I'm eating good for the rest of my life. Whereas if you wait until you get sick, when you're 60 or 65 or 70, your body might not be strong enough to endure that. And you just kind of, you get sicker and sicker and sicker. And I don't want you to do that. And if you are that old, please don't misunderstand. I'm not saying there's no hope. There is hope. There's always hope. Just start now. Don't delay. Start now. All right, so the hydrochloric acid in water, that's misstated. The water with hydrochloric acid in it is being consumed by you along with whatever the preservatives and antioxidants are. It's not antioxidants like blueberries are antioxidants. Uh, Different idea. You know, the idea is to kill the bacteria and to preserve the lettuce so that it stays crisp and fresh looking and not wilted, and you want to buy it. You don't want to eat that, right? So even the fresh vegetables, lettuce is I got a little facetious at the end of the note, and I said, it is a easily movable hazmat, hazardous materials, you know, in a bag. You know, it's loaded with chemicals. And I entreated you in the written, and I'm entreating you here. That's why I say local. All right. So when you get it local, that stuff isn't done to it. It doesn't have it's not bathed in hydrochloric acid with water or water with hydrochloric acid. It's not doused with an antioxidant or a preservative. It is just lettuce. All right. And it has the bacteria on it that you want to eat that bacteria to fortify the bacteria in your gut, and it's just a whole good. It's good. It's actively good for you instead of being bad for you, right? So when you get local, you got a shot at not getting that nastiness, that pool of chemicals on your lettuce, and then you consume it. All right, so just a minute. Oh yeah, and then I close by saying, you know, this is a reinforcement to use the Food Buyer's Guide. Because in the Food Buyer's Guide, that's what I say is I don't give you all this detail. I hope you notice that I'm kind of working through the Food Buyer's Guide and helping you to understand the reasons behind what I'm saying. I'm even learning more. I didn't know about chicory root extract, which is totally disgusting. And I never understood what they did to lettuce. I knew that they did something. I didn't know what it was, but there it is. They dip it in a water and hydrochloric acid solution to kill it, partially kill it. So that's the other thing. I forgot about that. So when they do that to your food that's supposed to be alive and active for you, your fresh food, they've killed it. And now you're eating a dead food. It's not alive anymore. It's not actively good for you. The only way you can do that is to buy local, to get it so it's still alive and it's still it's a whole food. It has the bacteria. It may have the dirt, and if it has the dirt, then yay, you're getting good lettuce. Count it all joy that you're getting to rinse dirt off in your lettuce. And I even encouraged you to say, you know, if you're buying local from somebody that you know and you know how they grow the food for you, then if it's wilted, you can go, I'm glad it's wilted, because you know it's not dead. It might be a day old. It might even be 2 days old. I'll tell you what, if it's 2 days old, it's like 10 times fresher than what you can get in the grocery. And it's not a chemical soup that you're eating that's destroying your gut and killing you slowly. So clean food, it's not just a catchphrase. All right. I hope I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going because to me, this is interesting to me. I hope it's interesting to you. And it's important, folks. It's important. The next visit, I already know what I'm going to talk about. So I'm just going to give you a little hint. We're going to talk about, how do I want to phrase this? I'll just phrase it direct. That's what I do. Why does it cost so much? All right. Why does this food cost so much? We're going to talk about it. I'm going to explain it to you so that you can appreciate why it costs so much, because you should appreciate it. All right. All right. That's the end of today. So eat well.